Contact. Bearing 304 by 486. Is a human IFF. Grand Admiral Ishik of the Grand Birol Armada felt her circulatory organs begin to pound in her body. Another attack. A third, this time, marker. And the outcome would be the same. "Results?" she said in a cracked voice, made raw from yelling orders and the dry air of her flagship. She already knew the answer before the bridge officer at the logistics station answered. "Severe damage to the third battle group. Several ships destroyed. Commander Mark is reporting his battle group has been reduced to 1/4 effective strength. They inflicted only minor damage to the attacking human forces." Ishik stared out her flagship's bridge viewport. This had gone on for over 2 months. 2 months of running. 2 months of constant assaults from out of nowhere. 2 months of casualties and dwindling fuel and resources. 2 months of regret. The Armada had found the colony inside their historic borders. They had tried to hell them, but the Grand Admiral had ordered the obliteration of the small outpost, them being on their way. It hadn't even taken them much to destroy. Just 3 kinetic rounds and poof, no more invaders. Then the Armada went on its way as if it was as inconvenient as a small itch on the dorsal appendage. The Grand Admiral hadn't even known what humans were then. But then the attacks began. The attacking ships were small and primitive, by the standards of most galactic races. They still spun to generate gravity for creator's sake. But their simple munitions were atomic warheads that bypassed shields, and their small ships were indistinguishable from cosmic debris. And every time, after each attack, came the transmission in the language Ishik had come to dread. The same phrase that made her hair strands stand on end. An eye for an eye. Their ships vanished as soon as the attacks came, but they always came back. Somehow, the humans, as they called themselves, always came back. Any destroyed or damaged ships were quickly replaced, their weapons reloaded, and their engines refueled. The humans were relentless and unyielding. They offered no terms, no mercy, no surrender. They only gave the same transmission each time they struck. An eye for an eye. The Grand Armada was now a tenth of its former glory. They had been whittled away like meat from the bone, and still the humans came. Her fleet was in shambles. Her crew was running ragged, and Grand Admiral Ishik could feel her mind cracking from the constant stress. "Ma'am, we have multiple contacts." Ishik turned to her sensor tech. "Where?" she said, no longer ashamed of the panic in her voice. In everyone's voice. "There. Everywhere." Her tech's voice shook with pure fear. "All directions, all vectors covered. We're surrounded, Grand Admiral." Ishik broke. Her mind couldn't process the information. The amount of ships, planning, resources that it would take. She couldn't. They couldn't. As her crew cried for direction and her mind splintered into pieces, Ishik heard one last voice over the comms as her fleet fell to nuclear fire. An eye for an eye.